Hello, everyone. This is Daryl Guberman, CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, a quality consulting firm here in Connecticut. Today is going to be a good video. I just watched a video put out by American lawyers, Mike Pampantonio and also Farron Collins, both attorneys. Have I got a surprise for you, gentlemen? The American National Standards Institute and the American National Accrediting Board is involved with the American Bar Association, so you better look in your own backyard. We have the data. We'll show you very shortly. Today, this video is about Boeing workers strike as disastrous. CEO gets golden parachute. Attention, Mike Pampantonio and Farron Collins of America's Lawyers. And here we go. We caught David Calhoun. We caught David Calhoun on the golf course while this whole thing is going on. Why not? He's going to be making a lot of money when he gets out of Boeing in December, and here he is here. We also have Mr. Kelly Oberg, or as Robert Kelly Oberg from Rockwell Collins. And by the way, gentlemen, I have something to tell you very important. Mr. Pampantonio and also Mr. Farrons. I have some, or Mr. Cousins, I apologize. This guy was on board Rockwell Collins, when the MCAS system that killed the Ethiopian Air and Indonesian Air, 348 people were installed. Actually, it was developed, manufactured, and implemented under his rule of thumb. In 2013, I'm not going to go into too much detail. I was invited to join ANAB through Mr. Dave Levy. Mr. Dave Levy was our Regency Director of the ASQ, American Society for Quality, which owned ANAB, the American National Accrediting Board, 50%, and ANSI, the American National Standards Institute, owned it 50%. I was then asked by Randy in 2016 to join either the IF or ANAB. Let me just tell you a little bit about IF. IF is the International Accreditation Forum, incorporated in Delaware. It is an association of accreditation bodies, both national and international, with their sister organization, ILAC, the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation. They are underwriters, which means, as lawyers, you should know, underwriters take all legal responsibility for both systematic and product failure, especially in the quality arena where they are in that space. In 2015, Randy had handed over leadership of the IF, the International Accreditation Forum, to a guy, Zhao Jinwu, from Beijing, China. He is also, at that time, the chief executive, or actually, yes, the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services, which is equivalent in accreditation to ANSI ANAB. He was standing, and you'll see it very shortly, he was standing in Wuhan Lab, handing out a laboratory certificate for an ill-prepared laboratory, which more than likely, yeah, it did. It released the COVID virus. We have the data. I'm not going to pull any bones and punches about that. But he asked us to join in 2016, but how could we join as a proud American on an organization that has a communist national who's mandated, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow business owners, mandated to take our data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. I was present there on April 17th with Sam Salipar, the whistleblower, and I have documentation that proves that Boeing subcontracted their quality out, didn't have to do on-site audits to 2 certificates. You'll see that very shortly. I was there also on June 18th watching David Calhoun. ANSI, the American National Standards Institute, is a private, not-for-profit, non-governmental corporation that has both federal agencies and corporations on board. Here we go, gentlemen. You see him in Wuhan, China, handing a certificate. You see him over here in 2015 accepting leadership of the IF, an American company who had, federal agencies and corporations on board, and is mandated by its country of origin, Communist China, to take our data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. ANSI took over complete control over ANAB. They're an accreditation body. ANSI's been around for over 100 plus years, as I told you, and ANAB, the American National Accrediting Board. They were sitting on the IF. In fact, they're the ones who implemented the IF and made the IF. They're the founders of the IF, and you'll see that shortly. They had federal agencies and corporations on board between 2015 and 21. Here's the actual document, gentlemen. Since you're attorneys, look at the bottom line here. Please stop the video. I'm not going to stop this because I want to ramble on and show you what's going on. And here's both the IF and ILAC. So now we're going to go back. Remember this guy in the laboratory. We have Pamela Sale. This is good. In 2017, when he was in the ill-prepared lab, you have Pamela Sale, Vice President of Accreditation for Laboratory. And she said, one of the issues is that there is no commonly agreed upon set of standards that forensic labs, I'm going to go on and say bio-level 4 labs, which Wuhan was, and phlebotomy labs for blood around the country and world have to follow. Instead, there are informal guidelines and that labs can choose to follow or not. So she basically said that Wuhan released the virus. In fact, in 2018, a contingency of Americans went there to Wuhan, and scientists were begging for more trained technicians, okay, because that is the first containment of any well-run bio-level 4 lab. In 2019, the CDC, Volume 25, 2019, the CDC came out with a training document only for Wuhan, China, that stated that the most critical part of any well-run lab is highly trained technicians, because that is the first line of containment. So basically, Zhao Jinwu issued a certificate to an ill-prepared laboratory, okay? And that's why they released the COVID virus. And the majority of failures happen in accredited laboratories. You have Homeland Security sitting on Anzi Anab's board, right over by Boeing, and they have a Phil Matheson who's getting $262,000. He was, and he used to be various, and a royalty payment. We'll show you what that is defined as. $262,000 plus his federal salary. And the DHS is the organization that's inquisitioning David Calhoun, was listening to Sam Salapar. You have NIST on board, which is part of the Department of Commerce. And this guy, Gordon Gilliman, $120,000 tax-free, and they're all called, and the federal salary, they're all called royalty payment, gentlemen, a royalty payment, which means they don't know how to tax it. You have Boeing on board. Boeing. In 2002, they came out with a special process certificate from Performance Review Institute. Performance Review Institute, welding, heat treat, etc. Just send in your cert, send in your parts, and Boeing doesn't have to do on-site audits. That's in April. In July of 2002, they came out with a supplier procurement bulletin that said, send in your cert as long as it's AS9100 and as long as it's ANAB accredited. Send in your parts, send in your certificate. We're all set. In 2009, Boeing was made an FAA regulator. That means they did not, and I repeat, lawyers, they did not have to tell anyone about the MCAS system or new aircraft designs. Okay, it's right here in the document. We have it, we'll send it to you. In 2019, the FAA came out after the Ethiopian Air and Indonesian Air crashed, and they said, oh, we never, and this is what they said, FAA has never allowed companies to police themselves or self-certify their own aircraft. That's a bunch of baloney. Here it is. The FAA sits there right over by Boeing. On the supplier portal, this is why ANSI ANAB is required, and the Boeing supplier portal must be ANSI ANAB or internationally equivalent. On the ANSI ANAB board, this is the Management System Committee, and it says that Boeing has a right to this is grant, suspend, and withdraw certification. Isn't that nice? In 2017, Boeing was caught, while they were an FAA regulator, caught fudging documentation on their aircraft. We have Robert Kelly Oberg, who was, as I told you, this is a timeline that showed him that he was involved with the MCAS system that killed 348 souls. That is what he comes to Boeing with. He was also, here it is, Rockwell Collins. They also sit on ANSI ANAB right over by the FAA and also Boeing. He was also the president of the Aerospace Industries Association. Isn't that nice? You also have the factor here that you have the DOJ, DHS, FAA, and of course Boeing sitting on ANSI ANAB's board. And I'm breaking the news, and it's very true. It's terrible. They are not, okay, and here it is. The Department of Homeland Security, also Department of Commerce, Department of Justice, and FDA are not just members of ANSI ANAB's board, but they are customers. And this is going to be what the future, if they keep Kelly Oberg there, this is the future. And by the way, attorneys, I sent a 42-page certified document to Boeing's board because I felt that I could be a better CEO than who they have there, or head of quality I was looking for. Here are the green card requests. We had 11 of them. And have you heard from them? Neither did I. And I'm going to say this to you, okay, attorneys, Pompanillo and also Mr. Cousins. The truth will set you free, but not until Darrell Guberman is done with you. or finished with you. We've been trying to get into Boeing. We need to get into Boeing because if they don't have Daryl Guberman, they're going to go down. And it's not just David Calhoun. I was there. And what the IM 751 should do is ask for David Calhoun to relinquish or give up or forfeit his $45 or $55 million and have it split amongst the 32,000 members of IM 751. 203-556-1493. I thank you.